left school in 1984. I gained admission into UI in 1998. 14 years after.
14 years after?
Yes.
Ah.
But, you know, the first challenge was getting into the classroom with people that are younger than you, people that you can even... But I immediately adjusted to that level. I said, law and morality is like oil and water. They can never mix. Now, morality is based, or let me say is rooted in cultural value.
Okay.
But if you look at it very well...
Now, I'm confused, sir. Where you say law and morality cannot mix, I'm very confused.
Okay, let me give you an example now.
Okay,
you just give an example of a 55-year-old man.
Yes, sir. In the north.
Marrying a minor.
Yes, maybe in Kano, or in Jigawa, or in Kazaure, or in Nadejia.
You see, if you look at now that we are trying to have what is known as the Administrative Criminal Justice Act, ACJA. So if you are driving and you see somebody blowing siren, just see it as a privilege.
Privilege.
For that, and there is a saying in Yoruba, ohun tó ń tán lọ́dún eégún.
Ohun tó ń tán ní ọdún eégún.
For that position, for that period, you know, I told you I have this deep leaning for property law.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I always tell people, when people say, oh, I want to acquire property, I want to buy land, I said, it is not right. You cannot buy land. What you will buy is just the time you are going to spend on that land. For example, you know, there's some laws that people doesn't know that they are in existence.
Of course.
Until when when they run foul of that kind of law.
Yes, I was going to that.
I read about one lady. I'm sure maybe she knows of one celebrity spraying money.
Yes, of course, stamping on the money.
Stamping on the money.
Of course. And one Oba recently used money to design one and he was wearing there or something like that.
And he was suspended.
Yes, he was suspended last week.
Yeah, he cannot say, oh, I did not know that it is against the law to do such a thing. Because law is a social instrument. You say, and you know what? Law, if you see this, the symbol of law, is you find out that the maid of justice is blindfolded with sword in her one hand and scale in the other hand. Once you have find one thing, the sword is there to litmus test that any man must pass.
Yes, sir.
Is the knowledge of good and evil. The Yoruba will say, any burumo, any to ma sofu, don't duro de.
Any burumo.
Yeah. You see, if to some people, when they say this one is a good man, it's like the talking drum. If something is not prescribed,
okay, sir,
if you do it, you should not be punished for it. Morality is a guide. It's something to do with your conscience. A man of 55 that decides to get married to a 9-year-old girl, we cite the moral values of his own religion to back his action up. But if there is a law that says that you cannot do this, then it becomes binding on everybody. When the Europeans came,
yes, sir,
they noticed that we have our own rules there. They call it the native law and customs.
It's another very wonderful, lovely day on Asabi Africa today in the city of Ibadan, the first cosmopolitan city in Africa and one of the biggest cities in West Africa, which is the capital of Oyo State. And by God's grace, I'm sitting beside a great man. And it's just by chance, by a rare opportunity that I'm meeting him today. He's a man that is busy on his legs and also busy in his head. He's a lawyer and is a litigation expert, a man with many years of law practice. He practices law from the city of Ibadan and in the first estate in Nigeria, Bodija Estate in Ibadan. I'm talking about Barrister Ayo Arowosafe of Ayo Arowosafe and Co. We are very proud meeting him today in Ibadan. He's done a lot in terms of human rights law, though he's major in property law, but he has been able to save a lot of situations. People have been talking about him. We've met people that have been able to enjoy or to benefit from his immense knowledge in law. And for almost a couple of weeks, we've been trying to reach out to him. Sometimes he's in Lagos, Ibadan, or maybe sometimes he's in Akure. But luckily, in between our journey to Ibadan to interview some people, we were able to catch him in the chambers today. I want to thank God. Today, Thursday, February 22nd, year 2024, we are with Barrister Ayo Arowosafe in Ayo Arowosafe Chambers, Bodija, Ibadan, Oyo State. Sir, I want to appreciate you, sir, for your wonderful opportunity, giving us this brilliant opportunity, this good opportunity to meet you, sir. I'm very honored. First and foremost, who is Barrister Ayo Arowosafe, sir? With total honor, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All the pleasures are mine.
God bless you, sir.
Because it's an honor and privilege to be here. So as to talk to the good people on your platform. And I'm honored to be here.
Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir.
Like you correctly said, my name is Ayo Arowosafe. I'm a lawyer by profession, but I always tell my clients, not only by profession, also by calling, because I don't see it just as a profession.
Lawyer by calling. This is the first time I'm hearing that. Because a lot of lawyers, it's like by profession.
Yes, yes, it's a profession to me because this is where I make my livelihood, my money. But it's a calling to me because I believe one day, the Lord that has given me the enablement, the privilege, the ability to serve women,
yes,
or let's say mankind,
yes, sir,
in this position, I will have to give an account. And if I think about that as a calling, then I will not only look at the livelihood alone, but I will look at the impact, and let me put it, the positive impact that it's making in the life of people. So that by the time I meet with my maker, I'll be able to say, Lord, what you have given me, this is the account of it. That's why I said, as a profession and as a calling.
You know, you make me shocked. You shocked me because last year, around December 1920, I was with Barrister Mrs. Fumi Falano. You know, she has an NGO that they call Legal Aid for Women and all that. And she was talking about her first profession was to go into physics. She wanted to go into the medical line, and she studied physics at Uniben. But she said she discovered that she couldn't use that profession as a weapon to change the life of people. So she has to go back to law, to study law in Unilag after she has left school. So does that apply to Barrister Ayo Arowosafe too, sir?
Well, I think I have a similar story to tell. Because I started my career as a confidential secretary.
Can you imagine? Confidential secretary, sir?
Yes, I actually studied Secretariat Administration.
I can't believe this, sir.
And I worked with the federal government for 9 years with the defunct National Center for Economic Management and Administration here in Ibadan, very close to this place. And I just discovered that I was not being fulfilled. I believe I can still do more.
9 years. That's not a joke, sir.
Yeah, that was between, if I'm not mistaken, between 1990 and 1990, close to 1999. Because I remember, I just decided, I said, let me go back to the university and see. And funnily enough, I didn't go to the type of secondary school that offer the subject, the O-level subject that will enable me to practice law. Because I attended secondary technical school, Ijero Ekiti. And you see,
I understand now.
in those days, government were thinking about vocational. So the more they are putting emphasis on the normal secondary school education, they are still talking about technical. So I was studying metal works, wood works, applied electricity, motor vehicle technology. That's what we were being taught at secondary technical school in Ijero Ekiti then. Then suddenly they stopped that. I don't know why.
Why they stopped those beautiful,
beautiful programs.
Beautiful programs.
They tried to, but I think I had just one set after me, because I did my O-level 1984. I think the last set was 1985, even though it's still me. And from there, I just discovered that, a technical person, that actually is not really my line, because my father happens to be a technical person. One day, we were just, at that INSEMA, we were just talking, and somebody said, you guys, you argue too much. You're supposed to be a lawyer. A very funny story. I remember that day, we were arguing about a program on television. And somebody said, this is the name of the producer. I said, no. And we trekked all the way from Bodija to Iliakede to go and find out. So I'm coming back there and saying, you argue too much. Why are you being a secretary? You are supposed to be a lawyer. And something just dropped inside me to be a lawyer. But okay, what are the subject requirements to study law?
Can you imagine?
Government. No. Literature in English. Yes, I did some of it. So you will not believe it. I was married. So I told my wife, I said, I will be going back to school to go and study law.
You are married already, sir?
Yes, as a married man.
I'm shocked.
And
you have the temperament to still go and face studies?
No, my colleagues at INSEMA, they were saying, you know what they were telling me? Adagbajera Ifu. Leave that one for your children. You still want to go back? And I said, no. I discovered that I still have that potential. And I sat for JAM. In fact, I did another GC. I did private studying on my own. That's when I studied government and all other courses. And I sat for JAM. And in those days, when you want to know maybe you have passed your JAM, they will publish your name inside. Tribune. I remember. They will publish your name inside the Tribune.
Tribune newspaper. And
one day I just entered into the office and my oga pressed the bell. Bang! Ayo! I said, sir. He said, come. Check. Is this not your name? I said, yes, that's my name. I said, praise God. I said, look, oga, you are not praising any God. You have only one choice. It's either you continue as a secretary here, or you go to the university and forget about your job. And I was already 9 years on the job. And I'm a typical Ekiti boy. And something inside me just revolted. And I said, as the Lord of heaven liveth, by this time tomorrow I'm leaving this office. Not even minding the fact that I'm just...
Your salary? Your perks of office?
In fact,
even your family?
In fact, if I have stayed for just 6 months, by today I will still be collecting gratuity.
Oh, Jesus.
I just said no.
That's a bad one, sir.
And I said, I got home and I told my wife and I resigned the following day. And
that's a dangerous decision.
Well,
that's a dangerous decision,
at times you have to take some decisions that you may not even know the reason why you are taking it. As I'm speaking to you today, there is no organization called INSEMA again.
Yo.
I'm telling you.
What is full name of SEMA?
That is National Center for Economic Management and Administration.
I understand that.
And today, I can tell you, I do not have a single regret that I took that decision that day. That is why you are here with me today. Because I would have still been somewhere doing my confidential. No, I'm not saying they are still my colleagues. Once a secretary is always a secretary. Well, I added this on to it so that to make more positive impact in the lives of the people.
Can I ask you that, was there a kind of immediate challenge? You going all round to study all over again, to face the school life? I mean, you have a wife, probably you have a child then.
Yes.
And let me just say, you have a family, you have dependents.
Yes.
That you need to take care of.
Yes.
So what were the challenges like?
Oh, I thank God for giving me a wonderful wife that shared the vision with me. you know, like what you write, you know, it was a drastic and rash decision. But I thank God today, like what we said, time and chance. And I thank God that I took that chance. Now, the challenge, I left school in 1984. I gained admission into UI in 1998. 14 years after.
14 years after?
Yes.
Ah.
But when, you know, the first challenge was getting into the classroom with people that are younger than you, people that you can even... But I immediately adjusted to that level. And we were like, to God be the glory, I was even made the first class rep for my set.
First class captain?
Yes, for my... You know, I fitted in, and they were very loving people. My colleagues, my classmates, they very loving, very good. They are doing well today.
In
and
in
this legal field. And let me share something that really happened.
Kindly share, sir.
When we got that year, when we do, there's something the program they call orientation.
Okay, sir.
During our orientation, they now said, look, we are studying the CGPA, that's cumulative, the grading system. They call it CGPA. And I said, CGPA again in the university? Because what normally was obtainable in those days was GPA. So you can spend as many years as possible, as long as you are in the university, you know, one day you are going to graduate. But with CGPA, once your academic performance falls below expected, you will be advised to withdraw. And this is the kind of advice you don't shun. You must take to that advice. So when I got there, and my faculty then was having a departmental status, meaning that we are having more students than we are supposed to have in that faculty. And I was telling my classmates, I said, look, guys, if you don't want to be given the kind of advice that you will not be able to reject, let us work together. And some of them will say, who made you our father? You can't come here and start bullying us. But I was looking at the future, the first side, I said, and there's another thing. They said that faculty has never produced a first class student. I said, if that is the genes, during the time that I became this class, we are going to break that genes. And to God be the glory, we broke the genes.
You broke the genes, sir.
We broke the genes. Not only that, we got the faculty, you know, something.
Can you imagine?
I remember...
You build the reputation of that faculty.
I remember, you see, one thing about life is this. Once you can think it,
yes, sir.
You can
visualize it.
You can achieve it.
You can practically achieve it.
I'm telling you that my life has always been like that. Once I want to do something, I'm not thinking about now. I remember when I wanted to get married, my wife I said, don't worry. I am not thinking about now. I'm thinking about what will happen in the next 7 years. God preserving our souls. So don't worry about the situation we find ourselves now. Every 7 years, we will review our life.
Every 7 years, we will review our life.
And God has never failed us. So it's having projection, having the vision, and running with the vision. Then you get it.
Like Habakkuk 2:2. Run with the vision.
You have to run with the vision.
Wow. So I want to ask you another question, because I learned from, from what I gathered about you, that during your law school, you had elderly people like General Dia sitting beside you, General I vast my child goes, I come and all that. How did you feel finding yourself among these kind of people?
No, you see, in the law school there.
Yes, sir.
You'll be shocked when you see big people coming to the law school.
Big men that are supposed to have retired.
No, because this is the only profession in the world that you don't retire.
No. Are you talking about law, sir?
I'm taking the legal profession. You don't, as long as you can find your way to the courtroom. I'm sure you must have heard about the late legal luminary that they call Timmy the Law.
Yeah, that's Every Williams.
Yeah. As long as you can find your way into the courtroom. Even if you need sitting on your wheelchair. Because you see, the legal profession is the kind of profession that once you have a good mind and once you can, articulate your
views,
you are there. I don't know of any other profession that will give you that kind of advantage.
I want to ask this. A lot of people believe that there are good lawyers and there are bad lawyers. I used to have this, my friend, Tunji Disu. he's now a CP now in River State. When he was in RRS, when we go to interview, he say, we are the good guys, the police. You know the police are bad guys. So is there the good lawyers and the bad lawyers?
No. There's nothing like that. You see, it depends on the way you are looking at it. I always tell people, the very litmus test that any man must pass
Yes, sir.
is the knowledge of good and evil. The Yoruba will say, any burumo, any to masofu, don't do de.
Any burumo.
Yeah. You see, if, to some people, when they say this one is a good man, it's like the talking drum.
Okay, sir.
It only depends on the side, that side that you are on.
Okay.
For example, in litigation now, you always have two parties.
Yes, sir.
If there is judgment, and one party now, the court decided, oh, I'm finding in your favor. What do you think the other party will say? That judge is a bad judge. He has collected money. Okay. I know judiciary is in problem. So there is nothing like, you can't say there. You see, the issue of being good or being bad boils down to the level of morality.
Being good or being bad boils down to the level of morality, sir.
It depends on the class that you want to belong to.
Okay.
When somebody is planning evil, you cannot tell me that he doesn't know that what he's doing is evil. But you will see some people, they want to justify their evil ends. And I said, well, the end will justify the means. That is why I said, in my own profession, or let me say, in my own way, the way I practice, I am not just seeing what I'm doing as a profession, but also as a calling. Because I don't want to be judged for my action, so that at the end of the day, people can praise me, and God will now say, no, you are bad.
I understand where you're going, sir.
That is why I said it is both a profession to me as a... Yes, I will do everything possible and legally right to make sure that I defend the interests of my clients, but not against my conscience.
Not against your conscience.
But if you are doing that to some people, they say, don't mind that lawyer. Let me tell you a story. There was one day, a client came to me and said that he was having a problem with the police. And when we got to the police and we were discussing, and the man said that he wants to collect money. I said, one of my guiding principles is that I will never collect money from my client and give it to the police. I don't know how the police officer got to hear about it. And the next thing said, that's your lawyer, na SU lawyer.
Na SU lawyer.
And I just laughed and I went to him. I said, no, there is nothing like SU lawyer. You may think that the money will do a lot for you. But at the end of the day, when you get home at night and you want to pray, knowing fully well that you have perfected justice because of money, what will your conscience tell you? And you know what my client said? Lawyer, we are in Nigeria.
Of course, the Nigerian
factor. Okay, if you want to say you are in Nigeria, no wala. I've done my bit. I went to the district, we discussed, and they said he should be released on bail. And I left there. So if he likes, let him give his money to the police. That is not my problem again.
Well, Nigeria, they say bail is free, but at the end of at the back door, the freedom is not always guaranteed. I
left the place. And up to today, if you can go around and say, oh, that my lawyer, he doesn't know his way. You know, there is the slang. Ẹni tó bá mọ̀ wé ló mọ̀ wé.
Yes,
no.
Ẹni tó mọ̀ wé ló mọ̀ wé. Even the hip hop artists are always
we are not taught that way. You see, anytime you are taking decision as a lawyer, you should know that it's a tripartite thing, it's a three-way thing. Justice to the society, justice to the complainant, and justice even to the defendant.
Justice to the society, the complainants, and the defendant.
And of course.
I'm hearing this for the first time, sir.
And the parties, you may be for the complainant, or you may be for the defendant. But the ultimate aim should be, are we having justice for the society?
Are we having justice for or justice for the benefit of the overall society?
That is it. So that is the way I will answer. Maybe that we have a good lawyer or a bad lawyer.
You know, there is this, before I go to the next question, which is germane to this interview, and I've been longing to ask you that, but there is this perception that two lawyers are handling a case, you're a lawyer for party A, the lawyer for party B, and there is this syndrome that the lawyer for party A at times, because the influence or because the kind of monetary influence the party B has, could work in a way to jeopardize the case of his client. And that is why a lot of people, I'm very sorry to say this, sir, are afraid of lawyers in this climate. They say, oh, maybe there's a bad lawyer. Lawyer, for me, you hear people saying that kind of thing, sir. How do you deal with this kind of syndrome or this kind of philosophy, sir?
You see, I remember during my Polytechnic days,
okay, sir,
because I attended Federal Polytechnic at Ekiti as well. That's where I studied Secretariat Administration. I remembered my project. It was titled Human Conviviality Between Machines. You know, that was the time they were introducing electric typewriter and laptops. Okay. So they call it human conviviality, the way you relate with machine. When you are talking about human beings, you are talking of people that have feelings.
Yes, sir. Feelings.
Emotions.
Yes, sir.
They are not machines. They are not machines. Your client comes to you because there is a body. There is a problem. You as a lawyer, your primary aim is to alleviate that problem. If your clients cannot build trust in you, let me tell you, there are three types of professionals that you must not hide anything from. We are living in a society that believes so much in culture. Inside culture, we have religion. So some people have their imam, they have their pastors, they have their babalawos.
Yes, sir.
They may not be able to tell anybody the truth, but when they are face to face, in secret, or maybe somewhere with others, they will tell the truth. Then the medical personnel. You don't go to your doctor and tell your doctor lies.
Yes, sir. Of course.
The same thing with a lawyer. That is what is known as the fiduciary relationship. That's why we don't call people that comes to us customers, because we are not just thinking about the pecuniary interest. We are talking about their interest, their emotions. We are talking about their feelings. So we have what is known as fiduciary relationship. And this is what I do in my own case. I will advise my client, because that is my number one thing, to the best of my knowledge, in such a way that he will not run foul of the provisions of the law, and he will not run foul of the provision of his, or let me say, the tenet of his conscience.
Okay, sir.
The kind of relationship that we build should be the one that should be so strong that if he is not around, he should be able to beat his chest and say, I know where my lawyer is defending my interest. But when you now have clients that you are trying to defend, and you say that, oh, you have to, I told you it's a tripartite thing.
Yes, sir.
Now, and you said, in no matter what, then you are crossing the boundary. Your fiduciary relationship should be the kind that your client should be to say, yes, I can be rest assured in my. And if any lawyer that is what is on you will now go around and destroy that fiduciary relationship, he should forget it. He can have the money, he can enjoy the pleasures and everything, but he should remember one day he will stand before the God that created the heaven and earth, and he will give account.
In fact, sir, that is where we're really going, because a lot of people that I spoke to about you said you are very, some define you as a disciplinarian, and some define you maybe as an authoritarian because you don't bend rules and you are so strict. But let me ask you this question, sir. You made mention of law and culture, and I'm trying to ask that, sir, with total honor, sir, where does culture encumbrance law? Because me and Ms. Falano were discussing in January, and I asked her organization, Wella, deals with women and children rights. And I said, why should a man of 54 or 65 years in the north marry a girl of 19-year-old, and over there, they don't see it as a sin, but if they see you drink beer or dance on the Facebook, maybe a lady dance in some skimpy dresses and all that, the Hisba is coming after you. They come and destroy your shop if you're a beer seller, or they arrest you But here in Lagos, in the southwest, it's a different ballgame. You can't marry a 19-year-old daughter as a 65-year-old man, and we're allowed to celebrate our secularity and all that. So where does it come? Law and culture. Is there anything encouraging it?
Thank you very much for that question. You see, you are taking me to an aspect of law that is called jurisprudence. There's this saying, law and morality is like oil and water.
No, I can't understand, sir. Law and morality.
Morality.
Because we're supposed to find law, supposed to guide morality, and morality is supposed to guide law.
You are right. Yes. But you discover that it said law and morality is like oil and water. They can never mix. Now, morality is based, or let me say, is rooted in cultural value.
Okay.
But if you look at it very well,
now I'm confused, sir. Where you say law and morality cannot mix, I'm very confused.
Okay, let me give you an example now.
Okay,
you
sir.
just give an example of a 55-year-old man.
Yes, sir. In the north.
Marrying a minor.
Yes, maybe in Kano, or in Jigawa, or in Kazaure, or in Nadejia.
You see, if you look at now that we are trying to have what is known as the Administrative Criminal Justice Act, ACJA, that we are trying to infuse the two cultural background of the northerners and the southerners. In the north, the statutory, they are guided by what is known as the penal code.
Penal code.
I'm sure it's like you are getting more confused, but I'll break it down.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir.
And in the south, we have the criminal code. Now, you see, don't let us forget that when it comes to the issue of law, the position is that anything that is not written cannot have the enforcement of law. Is this? If something is not prescribed,
okay, sir,
if you do it, you should not be punished for it. Morality is a guide. It's something to do with your conscience. A man of 55 that decides to get married to a 9-year-old girl, we cite the moral values of his own religion to back his action up. But if there is a law that says that you cannot do this, then it becomes binding on everybody. When the Europeans came,
yes, sir,
they noticed that we have our own rules there. They call it the native law and customs. And they now set some rules. When they are thinking about it, okay, I've heard a story of if you are married to a woman and the woman decides to abscond,
yes, sir,
within the 9 months, any child born automatically belongs to the former husband. Have you heard some things like that?
In fact, it happened in the area of Shino Peters in those days. Yeah, when there were two fathers fighting about him, one said the mom left, he's the one that impregnated her. Then the other one said, Ìgbà tó délé mi, ló bí ọmọ èmi ni mo ní.
You get it?
Shino Peters had to release an album in dancing time to even clarify the situation.
You see, culture, like in the time of Jesus Christ,
yes, sir,
human beings trace their origin, their humanity to their culture. But what is acceptable in one culture may likely be an anathema in another culture. In India, if not because it has been abolished now, they have a cultural practice that once the husband dies, the wife must have to die with the husband. Have you heard of story of when kings die, they will bury people with them? They are Bobaku.
It happened in Ife recently. The Bobaku ran away, sir. After the Oni Sijuade Olubuse passed away, sir, in 2015.
Those are cultural values. And cultures are based on the experience and the agreed practice of the people of that particular society.
Even the killing of twins in Calabar before BARISTER stopped.
Thank you very much. That's another good example. So, let me give you another, then we now go into it. If you sleep with another man's wife in Ilorin is a capital offense.
Capital offense.
I'm telling you. You remember when they were trying to enforce the Sharia law?
Yes, sir.
But if you manage to escape and do the same thing at Ogbomoso, then it will come down to morality and not law. They may see you as an immoral person, but you have not committed any offense. Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
This is funny.
You see, let's subsume it this way. Law has its roots in culture, but morality is the acceptable practice of a people bind together in a particular society. But when you come to the issue of law, even there's, I read the book, they said that even lawyers are still trying to find their own definition of law. Because you have different schools of thoughts on it. You have the humanitarian school, you have the positive school, you have the natural, different. But like the positive school, they said, look, whatever it is the whim and caprices that is written down or prescribed as law by the sovereign is the law. So if the sovereign says that, as from today on henceforth, it is allowed for a man to marry a man, it becomes the law. And look at this issue now, you find out that globally, many people are saying that law should be allowed to operate as an instrument of change. Law evolves with the society. I will give you an example in the Bible too.
Okay, sir.
Abraham, no, before he becomes Abraham or something. God married to Sarah. Sarah, who happens to be the daughter of Abraham's father. But when they go to Mount Sinai in Leviticus, God said that it is forbidden now for you to get married or well, you know the language. I want to use the language of the Bible to reveal the nakedness of your father's daughter. Once it is prescribed, then it becomes law. But morality is acceptable, let me say, what will make you to fit into a particular society. I remember when growing up, there is a practice in the Southwest. I don't know, maybe it has been abolished or maybe there's a widow inheritance. That is culture. There is no law that is backing up.
The brother of the man that loses, the brother should marry. Go Sulopo.
Oh, Sulopo.
Sulopo for Aburo.
That is culture. There is no anything that is not prescribed in our book, or let me say books now, because we have so many, cannot be taken as law. So law and morality, they are like water and oil. So that old man may hide under the cultural value of his religion.
A senator in Nigeria, Yerima, married a 19-year-old girl from Egypt, and when people put eyebrow, they started making noise. He just find one thing to say. Maybe say their culture is maybe his religion.
I am not an expert in Islamic law.
Okay, sir.
But I think I have an opinion that they say that a young girl should not experience 2 menstrual cycles in her father's house. What about that? So let's just take, if you want your society.
That's a very terrible one.
No, it's not terrible. That is what I'm saying.
Cycle.
You see, to you, because you are not familiar with that culture, it will look like, what is this? It's like, eating is part of man's culture.
Yes, sir.
If you see what some people will eat, you will vomit. Culture is like one man's meat is another man's poison. But law is not that. Once it is prescribed, either it meets with your moral value or cultural value, it becomes binding on you. That's the difference between the two. So you can't hide under your moral value or your cultural value and go. And ignorance is not even an excuse in law.
That is where the real problem now comes now. Ignorance. How do we now heal the common sickness of ignorance? I mean.
Yeah. You see, Nigeria today, we find ourselves in this kind of dilemma because education is supposed to be an illuminating factor that will take us from the shackle of ignorance. But unfortunately, we're in a society that, but thank God things are changing. Thank God for people like you now with media and all those stuff. Some people can be highly intellectual. They can be literate. But when it comes to getting used to some practice or doing some things, they may be novice. Okay, now, it's just like this new IT now, this information technology.
Yes, sir.
Do you know that you may have a professor that may not even be able to operate what a 10-year or 11-year-old boy will do on the phone?
I agree.
So when it comes to that stage, the professor is an illiterate when it comes to information technology.
Many of them, many older people. I used to have a friend, General Samoma, may God bless his soul where he is, the former Minister of Science and Technology under General Abacha, General Salami. He just passed away in 2021 at the age of 77. He was Minister of Science, but a lot of things, at times when I go to him, I tell him how to go to YouTube, how to go to in his office. Very good man, very kind man, but you see, he was Minister of Technology, and he brought a lot of innovation to Nasima, those their organization in Abuja. But at the time we were relating, he couldn't. There are some things he can't even understand. His children understood better.
Of course.
His grandchildren, I mean.
Yes, because you see, when you talk about ignorance now, what you don't know, you don't know. If you don't learn it, you can't know it.
But why should law be so shrewd to ignorance?
Now, if you allow people to hide under ignorance, then you are inviting anarchy. That is why what you are doing now, you are enlightening the public. Because you can't come to and say, oh, look, what you have just said is news to me. I don't know. They will not say, oh, because you don't know, you are free. You can go. So the idea of ignorance now, like what I said, that it is a major problem in Nigeria is people can go to school.
Yes, sir.
Even the Bible said that you will know the truth.
And the truth will set you free.
Let me tell you something.
Yes, sir.
It is the knowledge that you have that will set you free.
The knowledge that I have set me free.
Some people prefer that they know Jesus.
Yes, sir.
But it's their relationship, the knowledge of what they know about Jesus, that will set them free. You can know by head knowledge. If you don't have personal relationship, you will still be in your ignorance. So you see, when you talk about law, and you said, I know it is not good. For example, there are some laws that people doesn't know that they are in existence.
Of course.
Until when they run foul of that kind of law.
Yes, I was going to that.
I read about one lady. I'm sure maybe she knows of one celebrity spraying money.
Yes, of course, stamping on the money.
Stamping on the money.
Of course. And one Oba recently.
One Oba too.
Used And one Oba recently used money to design one and he was swearing day or something like that.
Yes, and he was suspended.
Yes, he suspended last week.
Yeah, he cannot say, oh, I did not know that it is against the law to do such a thing. Because law is a social instrument. You say, and you know what? Law, if you see this, the symbol of law, is you find out that the maid of justice is blindfolded, with sword in her one hand and scale in the other hand. Once you have find one thing, the sword is there to come down. So the idea, I do not know, will not avail. That is why you have professionals. If you don't know, then what do you have to do? The knowledge of what you know is what will set you free. What you don't know, go to those people that know so that they can teach you. But the problem of Nigeria is that even when we know, but because we are deeply rooted in our, this is the way we do it. We are going back to culture again.
Yes, sir. Bashensheni.
Bashensheni. Nilewani. Bashensheni. Ewobomini. You find out that many people are running foul of the law, and the law will not be a respecter of any person.
The law is not a respecter of anybody?
No.
No matter high?
Yes, no matter
how big, how low?
Because the law is there as a rule, as a standard, as a measure to ensure that we all live within the confines of its provisions. If there is, yes, we know there is this human factor, because Jesus was asked that same question. He said, let me tell you, law was not made for, a man was not made for law, but law was made for man. So that you will not go beyond your own rights to infringe on other people's rights.
So if I'm in Ilorin now, I must be mindful of other people's wives.
You have to, because that is the acceptable culture in that area.
If I'm in Kano, I should not drink my larger or trophy or gulda or
it evolves.
Life.
It evolves. I just learned that Saudi Arabia allowed diplomats to drink alcohol now in Saudi Arabia. No, okay. That is evolved.
Diplomats alone to drink beer.
Of course, sir.
Because it is a funny one.
It's not funny. You see, that is...
What's happened to ordinary people like you that have...
No, let me tell you. It will start from somewhere. I gave you an example.
They say women are even allowed to drive the other time. I think how many years ago? So
yes.
Drive.
Because, you see, culture evolves with the people. The only difference is that law is prescribed. In most cases, written. But the cultural value evolves. Now, you know that in the Western world now,
yes, sir.
Some things that we will take as being immoral here, they are now allowing it and we are copying it. I read on Sunday that the Anglican bishops there in Nigeria, no, the Catholic bishop, said that they will not allow gay marriage.
We support that, yes. We support because of our culture, yes. We support it. Africa is not going to dance to that kind of music.
But in Europe now, you are infringing upon the right of the gay people.
Then we keep to ourselves here. We run our society and we please God Almighty that have created it that way.
No, you asked me a question.
Yes, I'm so afraid. We don't want to get into a dangerous cycle now, sir.
You don't need to be afraid.
Okay, sir.
Do you know the reason why you don't need to be afraid?
Yes, sir.
As human evolved, so also the cultural values we evolved. But one thing is that no matter the laws of men, me now as a Christian,
yes, sir,
there is something that is guiding me as my own president. He said, let this standard, the standard of God remaineth sure. So no matter the involvement, because God knows that a period like this will come. There are man-made laws. There are God-given laws. And mind you, human beings have been given the right to choose. You have the right to decide which path or which side you want to follow. So do not be afraid. Just know whom you believe, know the side you belong to, and follow that pattern.
So I want to ask this question. The law, at what time do you think an average man runs foul of the law, a lot of people believe that some people, say in the animals farm,
all animals are equal,
but some
are more equal than.
So,
well,
in our society, do you think that there is a law for the? You see, a lot of people, big men, they run foul of the traffic law with their siren, one. They just, then ordinary man does the same thing, and the traffic light maybe a camera catches him, and one stupid organization, VRS or whatever, we just send memo that they have obstructed law, traffic law, you should come and pay 60,000 or pay, So, at what time? Is there the law for the big man, the law for the ordinary man? That's what I want to ask.
There is nothing like that.
But it appears
In
it's like
principle,
this in Nigeria
yeah, in
here.
principle. Now, let me explain what is happening.
Okay, sir.
You cited that book by George Orwell,
George Orwell, yes, sir. Animal Farm.
Animal Farm.
Yes, sir.
If you know, it's a satire about the human society.
Yes, sir.
You see, there's something about we human beings. When you are collectively pursuing a goal,
Yes, sir.
you can do anything to achieve that goal. But once that goal is achieved, then class and strata will start coming in. What you are seeing, it is just the class structure. All animals are equal,
Equal, yes, sir.
but some are more equals than
The
others.
others, yes, sir.
In principle, it should not be like that.
God bless you, sir.
They said, no one is above the law.
I've been hearing that.
Good.
Okay, sir.
But let me now tell you something.
Okay, sir.
I want to, there is a citation from the Supreme Court. He said, they said from the Supreme Court, we are last, not because we are infallible.
We are last, not because we are infallible. Okay.
But we are infallible because we are last. So any judgment we give you there, if you are not okay with it, then go to God. Because that is the last place you can seek redress. You see, in life, people are always saying that fingers are not equal. In nature, we are not equal. We have people that our variances, our potentials. If you listen to this younger generation, there are some music like, menial,
Yes, sir.
Lagbaja,
Yes.
Tamedu,
Yes, sir.
this. Because part of human nature is to influence each other.
To influence each other.
The way you are now,
Yes, sir.
I may ask for something for decades from you. I said, no way. But let your wife stroke your back.
Yes, you are right, sir.
You see,
that is jurisdictional influence.
I'm telling you. Look at this king. A king wanted to take the vineyard Naboth
Naboth, yes, sir. In the Bible.
in the Bible.
Yes, sir.
And the king went back home because he know it is wrong for him to just
Morally
jump
wrong.
morally wrong, even legally wrong. And he was talking, and the wife said, "Look at you,
That Jezebel.
and you call yourself the king." And she schemed it. That is the human fallibility. We are all under influence. If it is not influence from your parents, influence from your wife, from your children, because we are emotional beings. So at times we bend backwards, we change some rules, but that will not take away the fact, in principle, that no man should be above the law. Now look, in a society, when you see that your right has been infringed upon,
Yes, sir.
that is why they say that the courts is the last hope of the common man.
Yes, sir.
What you would do, if I'm in your shoe, is that I will try, go to that court, do everything that I know that under the law I am allowed to do. If I get judgment there, yes, I believe the judicial system is working. And if it is the other way around, once I don't have any condemnation in my heart, even if you manipulate things for me, I'll still go home happy. So if you are driving and you see somebody blowing siren, just see it as a privilege.
Privilege.
For that, and there is a saying in Yoruba, ohun tó ń tán lọ́dún eégún.
Ohun tó ń tán ní ọdún eégún.
For that position, for that period, you know, I told you I have this deep leaning for property law.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I always tell people, when people say, oh, I want to acquire property, I want to buy land, I said, it is not right. You cannot buy land. What you will buy is just the time you are going to spend on that land. You can transfer it. You can do whatever. What you normally buy is your title. So anybody, in fact, I want to tell people, see every day as a gift, as a privilege. So if we now use it to torment or to harass or to dehumanize another fellow, fine, you have that privilege for that time. But just remember, ohun tó ń tán lọ́gùn ní ọdún eégún. One day, those people that you are maltreating now, they can still become your saving grace tomorrow. That is why we should not look down at anybody. But we are in a society that we have class, we have stratas, we have all those things.
Class struggle.
I'm telling you. And you cannot blame anybody because we do not have the same potentials. We do not have the same privilege. Fingers are not equal. If you're in a position of privilege, just remember to use it wise and use it to the positive impact of the human race.
We're going to run the interview off very soon because of your schedule for Lagos and some other seminars you have to go to attend. But I want to quickly beg you to look at a trending issue. Okay. And I want you to give us your legal insights, sir. Look at the issue of that famous musician, Mohbad. You look at what is going on. Since he died, this going to 8 months now. The father wants the DNA. Then the wife said, oh, her daughter, her son cannot go for DNA, that the father has to get a court injunction and all that. Then the drama that came out recently is that, oh, the mother of Mohbad is even saying Mohbad does not belong to his father, or that the father have to be, a lot. It was the wife that first said, oh, keep Baba not lodge DNA, we won't be Mohbad. Then the wife now said, so, and a lot of people, some are for it. I have a lot of people who fought on this issue. Some were friends who said, kí ló ní DNA fún, she be there low busy, ọmọ ẹ̀ náà ni, we fi ẹ̀ lẹ̀ wàhálà yín ti pọ̀ jù. Then some said, no, the DNA must be done so that ọlá tí Mohbad fi sílẹ̀ kò ní lọ sọ́dọ̀ ọmọ àlè. Sir, as a lawyer with legal precedents and cultural precedents, what do you see, sir?
Well, your question.
Yes, sir. I'm very sorry to have asked you the question, sir.
No. It's good. You see, I told you that law is a legal instrument for social reforms.
Okay, sir.
So, and law is not meant for animals. It's meant for human beings to regulate our activities, and your question encapsulates all what we have been discussing about law and morality. Mohbad died believing that Aloba,
yes, sir.
Joseph Aloba,
yes, sir. Yeah. The father.
Knowing him as his father.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now we have issues. And the mother is saying that Aloba is not even the father to Mohbad.
Yes, sir.
Now let me tell you, in the Constitution,